Two of the three very famous Sabb brothers are a part of Alabama's team now. Could a third one be joining really soon?
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. We'll talk about FanDuel in just a little bit. I want to thank you every day for being here every day, because you know what? You made Locked On the number one sports podcast network there is. Y'all did it. Not us. I mean, kind of us, but really y'all. So, Jimmy, Amari Sabb commits to Alabama yesterday. Sort of a surprise. I mean, surprise, but not a surprise. Surprise in that it just happened kind of randomly yesterday. Not a surprise in that, I mean, we kind of thought this was going to happen at some point, and it never happened. And then it was sort of out of sight, out of mind, I think, for a lot of Bama fans. And then he commits yesterday. And I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, he's a little bit shorter. I mean, 5'8", 5'9"-ish kind of guy. He's got a little pro throw to his game. I watched some of his videos this morning on Huddle, and deceptive speed is what I thought about. And then the pro throw and Javier Arenas comparisons are going to be inevitable. I think he's going to be sort of a return specialist. He's listed as a receiver, a defensive back, return specialist. I think he will make most of his damage as a return specialist is what I'm hoping. And Lord have mercy, do we need a return specialist of some description? I don't remember the last time we hit a lick at a snake, and I've never really understood that saying.
I think it's the first
hit a
time
lick
I've heard.
at a snake.
It's the first time I've heard it, and I hope it's the last time I hear it. I don't like snakes, and now I just found out that I'm not a big fan of country snake sayings. Apparently, I prefer some of your other local.
Were you a big fan of the Simpsons Whacking Day, where they just rounded up all the snakes and beat them to death?
Best snake episode of all time, in the sense that
was one of the best,
a lot of
best animated snake episode of all time.
Yeah.
Best primetime animated snake episode, yeah. But Amari Sabb, you did a little video on him last night. Go check it out. It's out there in the YouTube shorts if you want to see it. But Amari Sabb is he's important because he's also the brother of Keon Sabb and Xavier Sabb, who Xavier Sabb will be a 5-star in the next class.
Yeah, Xavier is in the 27 class. Does this mean Alabama's definitely getting Xavier Sabb? Of course not, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. As a matter of fact, I would say it helps. Now, of course, Keon will be cycled out by the time Xavier would be on the team. But no, I do think it's big for Xavier, who is going to be, I think he's already a 5-star by some services and as an athlete prospect. Now, Keon was a pretty highly regarded prospect himself. He signed with Michigan out of high school and then portaled to Alabama after, I think, 2 years at Michigan. Or 2 years, a redshirt year and a redshirt freshman year. Now Keon is about to be in his 5th year. Amari will be arriving this fall. And by that, I'm not exactly sure when Amari's actually arriving. He'll be on the team this fall. I don't know if he's an early entry guy or not. We're already into February now, so I'm not sure about the timing of enrolling and all that stuff. But what kind of a player is he? Well, I think we have to start with the fact that I think on Rivals ranks him around the 1,500th best prospect, which is really low, of course. And it's also a little surprising in the sense that he's got a highly recognizable name. The people doing the rankings, for instance, are highly aware of older brother Keon and younger brother Xavier. And now he's ranked way back here at 1,500. Why would he be ranked so low? Well, I mean, Luke mentioned it. It's size. This he's not big. Listed at 5'8", 155. I think that's probably about right for him, just watching the Huddle tape. That sometimes 5'8", 155, when they're listed that way, sometimes that can be an exaggeration. All right. So, because a lot of the heights and weights they're self-reported. This isn't something you're filing under oath on your tax returns. They're sometimes exaggerated. But on his Huddle, he's listed at 5'9", 170. So I think 5'8", 155 is probably about right. So that makes him very small for Power 4 standards. And his tape, if some of his tape is great, it doesn't feature him running through a lot of contact. So obviously that's going to be an issue at the SEC level for him because he won't just be able to run past people. in the conference. He's going to have to make extreme athletes miss. He's going to have to run through some contact, and he's going to have to get open, which is harder against the longer-limbed SEC defensive backs. Now, that said, I think for a 1,500th ranked player, let me explain why I think this is a home run for Alabama. First of all, what Alabama needed was depth. They need depth at wide receiver. They need more receivers. They don't need starting receivers. Ryan Williams, Latsier Brooks, Rico Scott, Noah Rogers, C.D. Morgan, and Derek Meadows. They have that covered. They have the top of the rotation covered. What Alabama needed was depth. Really, adding Amari Sabb to me is step 3 in adding Aubrey Walker from Moody and MJ Mathis from Atlanta. Amari's just the third guy. Here's a fun game. I mean, this is fun. This is why we have a show. And this is why I think the show can be great. This is moving the show to greatness. If we need to write this down and remember it, I think a fun game is to play this. I think between MJ Mathis, Aubrey Walker, and Amari Sabb, one of them is going to be really good. Maybe the two others won't. One will be really good. Which one of the three? I mean, that's a fun game to play. I mean, Amari's ranked lower than the other guys. I'm not so sure watching his tape. Amari's not the best bet. He's instinctive. He's obviously got some level of separation speed. Now he ain't playing against Central Phoenix City up there in New Jersey. You can tell. You can watch a little bit of that. It ain't Central Phoenix City he's playing against. But this New Jersey populated area, he's clearly separates on every field you see him on in the huddle tape. He runs away from people. People have DBs have angles on him. It doesn't matter. He outruns the angles. But he's also not crazy fast. I think watching the tape, I mean, this is not a 4.3 guy, and a guy that's his size, for him to be very successful, probably needs to be 4.3-ish. He's not. But I like his chances. I would say between MJ Mathis, Aubrey Walker, and Amari Sabb, I'd pick Amari of the three.
I'm with you. And here's the other thing. I hear what you're saying, and it sounds crazy, but for the 1,500th rated player, he feels underrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think he's ranked right, yet still underrated.
He was better. He's better than I expected. If you would see 1,500th ranked and you watch a tape, you're like, boy, I didn't think he would be that explosive. But there's some explosion and burst he has. And I agree with you. If he makes an impact at Alabama, it's most likely as a punt returner. One note, though, a little football thing here about short punt returners. It's common to have them. I mean, 5'6", 5'8", David Palmer, Javi Arenas, these shorter. But some coaches don't like the short returners, and they're like, why would it matter how tall you are? Well, it's because, believe it or not, this is why some don't like them. It's the length of your arms. Punt returns that are muffed, or when the punt returner misses the ball, it's often because they hit off their pads. The ball gets into them. Guys with shorter arms, it's easier for the ball to get into their pads because they're not catching the ball away from their body like taller, longer-limbed guys can do it. So some coaches out there are like, I don't like the short returners. They muff too many punts. But short guy, to me, if you're going to make a big play returning a punt, number one rule, you've got to make the first guy miss. The first guy is going to get unblocked, and the first guy in your face you have to make him miss. That takes some short area quickness to catch a ball and then immediately make an elite athlete miss you. And shorter guys just tend to have more short area quickness. So it's kind of a trade-off, right? More short area quickness, but you can muff some balls.
A couple other things about Amari Sabb. First of all, I mean, as you mentioned, it can't hurt with the brother. I mean, it's not like these brothers have bad relationships. He's like, I'm not going where my brother's going.
They're not Oasis. You think they're like Oasis or the Black Crows?
Oh, the Black Crows were brothers too? I didn't know this.
Yeah, the Black Crows, Chris Robinson and his brother is the guitar player, and they break up all the time. But right now they're together again. But yeah, they break up, and then the band has to break up. So just like Oasis. Jeez. They're a Southern American version of Oasis in that way.
It should be noted he had offers from Bama, Rutgers, Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. Were all of those offers committable? I don't know the answer to that. My guess is the Rutgers one was. My guess is the Penn State one was. And Ohio State and Michigan were probably dependent on some other things happening. That's my guess. And my guess is Alabama's was dependent on some other things potentially happen, like do we have room? Can we work it out in the budget? Blah, blah, blah. And so I'm not here to tell you, and Jimmy isn't either, that this guy is going to be, he's the hidden gem. He's the diamond in the rough and the blah. No, not all that stuff. I'm hoping that he can be a contributor. And also I'll say this about his speed. If you watch his film, he's playing in New Jersey. It's not exactly, in my opinion, playing in Alabama or Florida or Texas or Georgia, but it's not playing in Delaware either. And he was never caught. So I think he was as fast as he had to be. I mean, do I think he's a blazer? Do I think he's JMO? I mean, this is fine. We live in a hyperbolic society where it's like this is the best thing that's ever happened, or it's the worst thing. This is a sign of the apocalypse. This is in between and closer to the former than the latter.
It might not have happened in the '85 scholarship era, but to me, watching his tape in the 105 scholarship area, this is a no-brainer to me because of the brother. I mean, that helps. But here's the deal: the fun part to me about expanding to 105, and you're taking guys like MJ Mathis, Aubrey Walker, and Amari Sabb, is some of them are going to pan out, and to me, that's fun. That's fun as opposed to the 5-star who's obviously going to be good and ends up being good because the 5-star is going to be good. I'm not saying I want as many of those guys as Alabama can possibly sign, but it's fun for me when the 3-star that's rated the 1,500 best player ends up being really good. And they're easy to root for, right? And hey, one more thing about Keon Sabb is an excellent leader. I mean, one of the best leaders on the team. I hope he's a team captain. I think he might be. I think him and Hubbard, both safeties, can end up being the defensive team captains. Ooh. Keon is a great dude and a great leader. It's not a stretch to think that Amari's cut from the same jib, as they say on Caddyshack.
I kind of hope it is Hubbard and Sabb for captains next week because there is safety in numbers. You think that could be their tagline? They're both safety? Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukelich and a huge advantage in the paint, staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
I really wish they'd also give us the
free Mazda?
back end of the Locked On thing. A Mazda, yeah. How about her phone number? I really wish they'd give us that. Hey, I'd like to be rejected by somebody.
Sure, we have. She works for the same company. I'm sure we have a company directory somewhere. But we used to get free Built Bars. We've got some free gear. We've gotten some free clothes here and there. Seems like a free Mazda's not much to ask.
Pringles never sent us Bubkus, but
I've been meaning to write them. I think I'm literally going to write them
on my list.
Explain the whole story and tell them why they must now advertise on Locked On.
That's also fan of the product. Go to dentist. Anyway, Alabama did extend an offer to another quarterback. It feels like every other minute we extend an offer to a defensive back, a quarterback, or a tight end. And this one is Trey Tagliaferri.
Do you think you pronounce that right? The 28 quarterback?
Tagliaferri. Yeah.
You think so? Okay.
Well, I mean, I've watched a lot of – I don't want to brag. I've watched a lot of Sopranos.
Well, this kid's obviously, I mean, we don't have too many offers out to 2028 quarterbacks yet. So this kid's obviously special in their eyes to merit an offer at this stage. I would keep my eye in terms of 2028 quarterbacks on Luke's Alexander City area or Kingston Priere, an in-state 2028 quarterback that also has an Alabama offer. And
grew up an Alabama fan. Not that matters anymore. It
doesn't matter as much. I think it matters. I think it matters. It doesn't matter as much. Doesn't matter as much. And I think teammate of CD Morgan, obviously I think is going to matter too, in the sense that, hey, it helps everybody listen to the show. A lot of people listen to the show went off to college. It helps when you know somebody. I mean, even though, you meet the football team and it's kind of like a built-in fraternity, when you show up, but it does help to know people. And heck, we just talked about Sabb having a brother there, and no doubt that's a huge factor, in Amari Sabb ended up at Alabama.
Just one other note before we get back into your roster ranking. Gus Malzahn retires. That happened the other day. Kind of glad we don't have to play him again. Kind of upset because I think we'll beat him next year. And I'm kind of upset that I think he's going to spend a lot more time at Lake Martin where my parents live. So I'm down there a lot. And I'm about sick of this, former Auburn coach haven we have down here. Hugh Freeze has a place at Wicker Point. Bruce Pearl and Gus Malzahn have houses sort of next to each other, very close to Chimney Rock. And it's just, it's a bunch of goofiness. I don't need any more goofy stuff. I'm the goofiest thing down there, and I want to keep it that way.
I'm not a Gus fan, to be honest, but at the same time, I'll say I think the most ultimate compliment as Alabama fans you can pay to an opponent is I'm glad I don't have to play against you anymore.
That's fair.
Do
you dislike him for that or his wife?
No, I sort of enjoyed it. She cracked me up. I guess I'd say she made me laugh. But Gus, I'm saying he's one of these guys. I don't know that I want him to be the head coach of my program, but when he was the head coach of the other program, I thought the matchup was tough. He made the matchup tough. His X's and O's and his scheming and innovation, frankly, made him a tough opponent.
It was important to him. It was more important to him than to beat other teams, apparently.
I want to make fun of him.
With everybody else.
I want to make fun of him for the Waffle House stuff, but I like Waffle House. How can I make fun? I like Waffle House.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. Now, I'll say this about Ms. Malzahn. Was it Christy?
Christy Malzahn,
with like 4 eyes or something and a heart over each of them.
Intense.
Shane Gillis had this to say about his parents. He said, he was giving a stand-up bit one time, and he said, I got a Fox News dad, the dad that sits around and watches Fox News all day. And everybody's sort of like, hemmed and hawed. And he said, hey, I can see all of y'all. Y'all have Fox News dads. It's good to have a Fox News dad. You don't want an MSNBC dad who just talks about, oh, we got to do something about fracking, And he said, a Fox News mom, that's a problem. She smokes in the house. And I'm thinking, Christy Malzahn smokes in the house. That's my declaration. That's my bet. Christy Malzahn smokes in the house. At the very least, she smokes with a white wine at noon on a Tuesday outside on the porch. At the very least.
Yeah, but I sort of respect it.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I said it out loud.
Now that you put it that way?
Now that you said it out loud, I mean, my mom tells me this all the time. She doesn't smoke now and hadn't for quite some time. Neither is my dad. But when the doctor told her she was pregnant with me, he said, congratulations, and gave her a cigarette. That may explain several things that have happened in my life. But I'll tell you one other quick Ricky Robinson story because some other people have said they like these. My dad one time got into a bet with somebody and it was for a significant amount of money about, hey, let's quit smoking. And the guy, dad was like, I don't want to do that. And the guy said, no, I want to do it. I want to do it. And dad was like, no problem, because dad had already quit a year ago and the guy didn't know it.
He didn't.
So finally,
your dad stacked the deck a little bit on this bet.
Yeah, dad knew he was going to win because he knew the guy was smoking. Like everybody told him he smelled like smoke, whatever. And then one day the guy comes over on his motorcycle right there at Willow Point. He comes over in his motorcycle and he hands dad a check for a few $1,000s. I mean, it's a nice check. And this is back in the 70s or early 80s.
Wow,
and
a lot of money. It's a lot of money then.
He said, I want to tell you something. I just want to be honest. And here, I want to give you this check. I've been smoking and I'm sorry. I'm just a gentleman's agreement. And Dad said, well, that's very nice of you. And I'll call him Frank. Very nice of you, Frank. He took the check and folded it up, put it in his pocket. And the guy said, you're going to take it? He goes, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I said, well, I just thought, he said, but I told you about it. He said, I know, but you lost the bet.
It was
he was thinking he was like Kramer doing the pyramids, doing the levels. He's like, Jerry said, I bet you don't do it. He said, well, I'm not. He said, I didn't lose the bet because I'm not going to do it. He said, that was the bet. He said, no, don't you understand? I didn't do it. I mean, anyway.
That story, there's only one way to improve that story is at the very end of that story. And you say, and my dad took that check and refurbished the first Robinson iron fountain.
No, it would have been much better to say, and my dad took that check and invested in Apple. But I'm pretty sure my dad took that check and bought liquor. Cheap liquor. No, very expensive. All right, so go ahead with the roster ranking.
35 is Marshall Pritchett. And let me tell you, he played quite a bit last year, and I think we all saw him. And late in the year when Cuevas got hurt, I think there was an intentional. They tried, I think, after Cuevas got hurt, they're like, let's see if Marshall's ready to be Cuevas. I mean, that's how high I think they are on him. And again, as a true freshman playing at the line of scrimmage, it's a lot to ask. I think they're very high on this guy. I am too. People might be, I have him here as 35. I mean, that puts him not only a solid 2, but he's a guy I expect today. We're going to see him play football every week, every Saturday. He's going to be out there. I doubt he's the number 1 tight end, but I think he's going to be out there every week. He can play the Y. I think he's best at H. I think Cuevas is a decent comp for him. I think he can become that. And we all see what Josh Cuevas became in his career. I find their skill sets a little similar. So I'm excited. It also reminds me of a former Alabama tight end who ended up playing in the NFL for a while, Miller Forrestall. I think he's got some Miller Forrestall to him. Brad Smelly, is another move H-back tight end type guy and Smelly's a little tougher, stayed in the NFL longer, but I like Pritchett a lot, and I think we're going to see him quite a bit in the fall as a tight end off the bench when they go to 12 personnel. 34 is one of Luke's favorite players on the team, one of my favorite players on the team, and a great underdog pick I might have him underranked at 34 because he could end the spring in the starting lineup. My buddy Clint Lamb also super high on QB Reese. I think QB Reese, I have him 34 in the spring, Luke. This is one that won't stay at 34. I think in the spring, he's either in the top 22 on the whole football team, or he falls into the 40s because he's behind maybe Caden Jones and Luke Metz, another inside linebacker I probably didn't rank high enough because I think Metz is going to be really good. But QB, instinctive, smart, a little bit like Amari Sabb, undersized, not a guy that you would just traditionally, he's a day one take. You got to talk yourself into taking him because of his size. But hey, this is what they say about these guys that are when you talk to their high school coach and you're like, we're thinking about taking him, but he's so small. The coach will say something like, well, if you don't like small inside linebackers, then don't ever put him on the field, because once you put him on the field, you'll never take him off of it. And I think that's exactly the kind of player QB is. All he needs is a chance. Once he gets this chance, watch out. I don't think you can take him off the field.
I'm with you. I think he can Rudy this thing. I mean, not exactly a Rudy, but
I like it.
Rudy-esque. I think he can. I mean, I think once he gets out there and you give him time, like you can't take him out on his first mistake. You got to let him be out there a little bit and but once you do it, I think you're going to love him. I'm just telling you, I really like the guy. So, we got to talk about some basketball thing very quickly. I did want to say that my daughter's basketball team won the regular season championship for third grade. She's over there standing away from me for some reason. She's second from the left, and she did lead the league in scoring this year. She had the other night. I was really proud of her because they played 6-minute running clock quarters. Like the clock does not stop. And Sela had 12 points in the first quarter. That's pretty tough to do in third grade.
I'm going to start calling her Ace Austin. That's who she is.
I like it.
There's some Ace Austin to that girl.
I love some Ace Austin, by the way. I've been watching her a little bit. I watched her in high school. She was fantastic.
She's been coming on. She had kind of she wasn't splashy, back in November, December. Oh, she's getting there now.
Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on when you're there. Just here's all my folder full of junk. Well, you figure it out. With TurboTax full of service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms like a sucker, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employment forms to work to get you every single deduction that you deserve and need. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just 150 smacks. Can you believe it? For $150, you don't have to deal with this? That's amazing. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today with a TurboTax expert. Then there's also FanDuel. You know, we talk about FanDuel about every day because, I mean, we love FanDuel. And I think they're re-upping for like next year or something. We got some good news yesterday about a lot of sponsors that are re-upping. I think FanDuel is one of them. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. That one final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season actually comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, who I think is the Seattle Seahawks, riding with the underdog, who I think are the New England Patriots, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and area snap feels bigger than ever. And it really does. When these two get together, weird stuff happens. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to final whistle. If you're a new customer over at FanDuel, just $5 bet. That'll get you 200 bonus bets if you win. Make it count because after the Super Bowl, the season is over, yo. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Jimmy Stein guarantee. So Bucky Ball comes to town tonight. I'm going to tell you something. Many moons ago, I wrote an article about Bucky Ball when he was coach at Mountain Brook for B Metro magazine because he's a fascinating character. He's just apparently he's a savant when it comes to basketball in terms of just plays and getting folks to play their toughest. I mean, because again, Mountain Brook had some dudes come through when he was there. I mean, Trended Watford came through. They had a couple other guys that were pretty good. The guy that went to Xavier, whose name escapes me, and he's playing in the pros right now. But they didn't have Butler level talent. I mean, they didn't have Hoover level talent, but they always won. They won all the time because they all played with the same mindset. They got after your butt. It's a very Nate Oates style of playing. You shoot the three, you shoot the layup. The difference is I'd say Bucky might emphasize defense a little more. I'm not saying Bucky's a better coach than Nate Oates. Let's not get nuts. I'm just saying Bucky is an interesting character. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a fun coach. If y'all remember when he was coach at Sanford, he was on the verge, probably should have beaten Kansas in the tournament. He's a ton of fun to watch. This is going to be a fun game. The over-under is about 180. Alabama is very mysteriously a 7.5 point favorite, which I find to be kind of nuts considering we got another injury report. And even Nate Oates must be on it because he keeps getting kicked in the crotch every week. He's got to be out with a bruised taint or something. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, he is getting kicked left and right, and this is just unfair how badly Alabama's injury situation has been this year.
Yeah, I've never really seen anything like it. I mean, and I think Alabama's had some injuries under Oates, not new, but the extent of it is crazy. And I know when this happens, a lot of fans, they want somebody to blame. It's Nate. He's practicing too hard. It's strength and conditioning. It's these
the
kids.
Trainer. Yeah.
It's the trainer. It's these kids. They're too soft. I mean, I've read everything like that. You know what it really is? You know what the best logical, smart explanation for what's happening? It's bad luck. That's what it is. Just bad luck. That's these kids aren't soft. Nate's a good coach. Alabama's got state-of-the-art strength and conditioning. It's just a run of terrible luck. And hey, sometimes you're going to encounter it. You got to do your best to overcome it. Texas A&M's a tough X's and O's matchup. Couldn't have more respect for Bucky McMillan. He's one of the few hires in the SEC in the last several years for everyone in the league. The moment that A&M hired him. And I know it's Samford. He didn't have like the greatest record in the world at Samford, which is obviously a tough place to get it done. But I had 100% confidence. I'm like, oh, this is going to work. A&M's going to be really good, and Bucky is about to take off, and that's what's happened quicker than I imagined it would. Tough matchup for Alabama tonight. There's a reason they lead the league. On the other hand, I predicted a loss to Florida. I'm going the other way, Luke. I know Bristow is out still. I doubt, by the way, I don't know that we're going to see Bristow the rest of the year, to be honest.
I mean,
Bo Bowen is out for tonight, I believe. He's either doubtful or out. So we're shorthanded, but guess what? Alabama wins, and they're going to win behind LeBaron Philon, Aiden Holloway, and Latrell Wrightsell. That's why they'll win the game tonight. And I actually feel pretty good about it, though I admit if you lose to A&M, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm just going to say, well, there's a reason A&M's going to win the league. And if A&M wins tonight, I'll probably be vocal about, well, A&M's going to win the SEC.
Yeah, it almost feels like you're setting yourself up to have a good excuse when that's not really the case. I mean,
No.
A&M still isn't ranked, which is bizarre. They're 17-4. I think their non-con wasn't fantastic as what.
Right.
And I think the voters just aren't – they're not there yet. They're like, we need to see just a little bit more because they have had some – they've had some close games, but they've had some nice wins too. You know, I feel like Alabama wins this one too, and it's not because I really believe Alabama's better right now. It's because the line is weirdly 7.5, 8, which is strangely high to me. That I think this line should be 1 or 2 points, either way, frankly. And so when you're saying I can't tell if this is a Bama bump line or if this is when you see a line that's this out of whack and you're like, oh my God, Texas A&M's easy money. That's when the blowout happens. You see it all the time with football.
I think the gamblers see Alabama bounce back and A&M sort of due to lose.
And last night there was the Miami of Ohio team that is undefeated in college basketball. I know none of y'all probably care or know, and I don't really either. But they're undefeated. They went to play a Buffalo team that's bleh last night. The spread was 4.5, or it went down to like 4, maybe 3.5. Miami of Ohio won at the buzzer by 2. So anybody who was thinking, oh, Miami of Ohio undefeated playing Buffalo – you know,
Buffalo.
They were thinking it was easy money. That the line was wacky because they knew something. This line is
of Nate Oates. The ghost of Nate Oates haunts that Buffalo program.
Oh, that's right. I didn't think about that. You think Nate Oates took him some of the what is Buffalo? What are they?
They're the Bulls. They're the Bulls.
Oh, that's so lame.
I know it is.
The Bills.
Yeah, they're the Bulls instead of the Bills.
Just be the Bills. It would be so much easier on all of us.
Is there a word for like baby bison? You know, they're like, what is there a word for baby bison? Do we know?
A bullet? No, that's not. That wouldn't work, would it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. All right, that's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.